Hello, hello! Looking to brew a little magic, are we? Well, I've been waiting for you. I'm Taren S. With over 40 years experience in the magical community, I have many different labels and titles trying to identify me. But ultimately, I'm just an old witch passing the magic forward. And this is the House of Witchcraft, a place where we seek out both the dark and the light. We work within liminal spaces. We are Crossroads Witches. Come on in, let's brew some magic. Hello, 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 and welcome to the season of the dead. I am so excited during this time of the year, just in case you couldn't tell, huh? Also, y'all may notice some of my folks did a little bit of rearranging, changing. The different skulls have pieces of paper under it with names of different dead folk. That's how I work some years. I've talked about this a lot. Every season of the dead is different. Every year is different. Use the month of September, that September moon, to see how you're feeling about it. Whatever you feel compelled is what you're going to do. Now, we're going to go with a done sit up my altar. I'm in the season of the dead. Who is going to come and see me? I know, we think about who are all these spirit folk we talk about. Well, y'all know I got notes. Of course I do. All right. First note up, of course, it's going to be blood ancestors. Let me get this and move it around. I have some other notes over here for later. All right. But first up, most common we think of as our blood ancestors. Anything within the bloodline, all right, or folks potentially to lean in. I also want to put a little number in your head, which is, if I talk 15 generations of your family, I am talking about 4,000, over 4,000 folks. That's how big your family is, all right? And these are, oh my goodness, you have got spirit folk, that family, blood folk, that could be 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 generations away from you, all right? And they're leaning into you. And you will get a sense of familiarity as you go through seasons of the dead every year. You're going to gain more familiarity and an understanding, all right? And when we talk about blood ancestors, I know for some of you witches out there, you may be adopted, you may have been raised outside of your direct bloodline. You're like, don't know who they are. That's okay. Guess what? You can still honor that line. Start with a little bit of information that you do have, all right? Set up an altar that makes sense to you. And I'll almost guarantee the universe is going to show you some stuff. All right? I've heard too many stories over the years of adopted folk that set up the altar the first year they don't really know who these people are. They only have, these little scraps, or they may have done a DNA, so that, they know that they've got Irish, or that they've, Italian or German, or even for a black folk, when you do your DNA, you're going back into our African countries. Remember, Africa's a continent. It has lots of countries. All right. And how do I connect all that? It's okay. Universe is going to help. Spirit folk are going to help. Okay? When you put up the cup of water, when you put up those mementos, when you start spending time in front of that altar, you start letting that energy come out. Spirit folk are going to help you find them. Okay? I've had friends been adopted, start with nothing, and over the course of 3, 4, 5, 6 years, somehow things are revealed to them. All right? We have to understand this is a journey, okay? We're not microwave it instant, press a button. Everybody's like, I can't do it this year. Yes, you can. You're going to start with what you have, and that's what you're going to use. And you're going to set that altar up, all right? And I will, I'm getting ready. There's another video. I'm not sure if this one comes out first or the other one does, where I'm going to talk about what do we do in front of that altar. So do check that out. Right now we're going to talk about who are the people that are coming in around us. Blood people. All right. And also, if you're adopted, please be aware that that family has adopted you, like spiritual folk, like great-great-great-grandma. You don't think she's not happy that she's got a daughter or a son now? All right? So if you feel connected to your adopted family's blood, that's your bloodline. All right? I know sometimes it gets a little hard and we have... Second big question I think I get is, what if I don't like them? Right? And I totally agree with that because first let me say I have that problem too. I got a couple we got to skip. I'm also dealing with recently deceased. But let's talk about what if we don't like them. If you have a parent or a grandparent or a great-grandparent or however, guess what? You don't have to welcome them to your space. All right? I always start all my stuff with ancestral and spirit folk who bid me well. You are welcome into my space. If I get a sense it ain't welcome in my space, you'll see me start doing black salt and just be like, leave, get out, get out. You are in control of your space. All right? And also, let me go back to the recently deceased folks. I touched on that. Like I said, my notes keep me straight. Recently deceased. My own, I lost my father this past year, and we didn't have a good relationship, so I would often say that I hope that what we couldn't achieve in physical realms, we'll be able to achieve in spiritual realms. And I'm still holding out for this. But he is recently deceased. He didn't go willingly. He didn't go, there was no at peace in his life. All right, so guess what? There's no at peace right now for him. A lot of recently deceased are still just sort of dealing with the I'm dead. They're still holding on to some of the vestiges of their own physical life, holding on to those things, and haven't started, going into spiritual realms, embracing the high vibrations that they now have access to. And you'll also see this is very similar what I'm almost talking about, like with recently deceased. If you're a Catholic background, you can understand you go to purgatory first, then you get prayed out, and then you can go to heaven. All right, that purgatory is that recently deceased time. Just depends on the deceased as to how long the time goes there. All right? Now, I hope that cleared that one up. Now we're going to go on to partnerships. If you are in a relationship with someone, their family, all right, and their spirit folk family may be leaning in on you, okay? Your husband, your wife, your partner, you feel compelled to put their pictures up. You feel compelled to say prayers to them. Those spirit folks are leaning in on you. That is part of, I got spirit folk around me. When people are like, oh no, you'd be like, and I got my husband's folks too. That's what I'm talking. All right, so be aware, you are going to connect. Bloodline is very important, but it is one piece of all of the spirit folk around us. All right? And also, within a lot of initiated lineaged witches, we will call forth the spirit of those that stood in our circles before us. I often say, witches of old who bid me well, join me this evening. And I want to bring in my witch sisters and brothers who are in spiritual realm and leaning in to assist us. They're there for us, okay? We've got some good teachers in physical realm, and when they go to spirit realm, guess what? They're still good teachers. All right? So be aware of those folks. And affinities. You will have spirit folk around you because you have a common affinity. I often talk about the fact that I have a long, wonderful 35-year journey with Carolyn Dye, 1880s black conjuring hoodoo woman that was really good with reading cards, divination. In 1980, like I said, it's 35 years ago, I saw a little Southern Magazine article. It had a little thing about notable people in the South, and that just, oh my goodness, I didn't know enough. I needed to find out who she was, what she was about. So I went on a long journey, and every year I put up a little picture frame. The picture frame that I do put up is actually empty. I do a story about that with what was revealed to me with working through her spirit and understanding that we have so many spirit folk around us. All right. And you may have, we have, like I said, pagan elders who have passed. And this may be somebody that you feel you have an affinity with. All right. Other people that were living, we're talking living realm folk right now. We're going to get over into another realm here shortly. Living realm folk, all right? There's a lot of folks who want to see you succeed, want to impart their wisdom, want to give you guidance, all right? Set the altar up. Okay, and next one up. I'm turning my things, all right? And this is where it's talking that these are the ones that are our spirit guides, that little voices in our head, okay? And not only during the time of the dead do we have a place to honor them. Many witches keep their altars, their ancestral, their dead altars year-round. Other witches we'll put a big one up during this season and the rest of the year a small one. Some witches, it's always small. All right, witches, this is about your season of the dead, okay? You got to do you. No one else can, honey, okay? Now, I do, before we end on physical folks who are now dead, let's talk a little bit about the scary ghost. What is a ghost? It's a spirit that hasn't moved on. He's still stuck in physical plane. He's basically never walked into the light for whatever disgruntled reason. It is a completely different feeling when you are around them versus around spirit folk who are happy they're in spirit realm, who like being in spirit realm, and who are leaning into physical realm to assist us, all right? This happy spirit ghost, not happy. You can feel the under edge when one's around. What do? You pray for it to understand it's dead. Some of the ghost folk don't know they're dead. First, you got to be like, you're dead. Tell it, you're dead. All right? The walk towards the light. You need to move on. It's time for you to go to the other side. You cannot stay here in this state. All right? They need to go into the spirit realm. And that's what we encourage. You need to, pray them up that it's time for you to go on. There's more out there for you, and hope well. And of course, you are in control of your space. You tell them to leave. Black salt, bless moon waters, all right? We got all sorts of, this is my space, smudge it out, okay? But do be careful smudging out altar areas, because if I smudge with some things, like do not use sage. You're purifying, cleansing, you're telling everybody to go away, all right? We don't want to do that. We want to welcome everybody that wishes us well, bids us well, all right? And to those in which don't bid us well, get the hell out, okay? And yeah, that's where, like I said, a couple little safety sigils. You can, get an oil and draw it on your door, is what I like to do. I use my own personal sigil, which is the T, and the S on top of each other. And I basically think about it as like a dog going around pissing on my yard saying it's mine. And that's my attitude when I put my sigils on my door. This is my space. All right? So there's nothing to worry about. Little worrisome is more said than anything else. All right? Now, we have just talked about all that physical folk. Guess what? There's other spirits that have never been in the physical realm. First ones that you may encounter are land spirits, the spirits of fauna. Everything has energy, folks. Everything has a spirit. When you're standing in that dirt, you're standing on all the history of that particular patch, forest, field, wherever. But you're in the spirit realm folk of Diva, all right? The spirit folk of the plants, okay? And in some areas, it's a little more active. And that's why it's important to know your region, know the stories, know the dirt you stand on, those who stood on the dirt before you, so you can give honor to them, respect, remembrance, all right? And if you're dealing with some of the different land spirits, this is where we get into, like, you know, fairies and things like that. You may feel compelled to put an offering up for them. Typically bright and shiny works well, all right? Another thing you may encounter is what we call house spirits. I used to talk about when my daughter was small, I would tell her that the dirt fairy had been visiting because I just swept the kitchen floor and now the floor is dirty again. So I know it's the dirt fairy with a bucket of dirt just doing this. All right. That would be considered a house spirit. There are all sorts of different house spirits. We've already through a lot of different cultures. If you feel you got a little bit of a bright and sparkling burning around your house, spend some time researching, finding out what the stories, the lore, the energy is of the dirt you're standing on which. All right, and from there you may be able to identify the land spirit, or the house spirit, or land spirit for that matter. All right, and the last, and I think the most important one that a lot of us forget about, all right, is our fur babies, okay? Those that have gone to spirit realm, they're still here with us, you know? I was very blessed. I had a beautiful Malinois, Belgium Malinois that was part of my life for almost 15 years. And I still have a place, y'all can't, where some of my little things are tucked up to the side, because I know he looks in on me. I actually have felt his brush by me one evening, and I just said, he's still protecting me, okay? And so please include your fur babies. They are part of your life. Guess what? They're in spiritual realm, and they're still leaning in on you, okay? And these are all the different spirits. And there's more. I didn't even go other places. Like I said, if we get around the world, all the different things that are in spirit realm folk, in spirit realm, all the folks that are there. The one thing I do really want to get on to is, it's your journey. You're safe. You're in control. You command. Okay? All right, witches, thank y'all so much for joining me. And you know, those which watch to the end, you get a gold star. You get your gold star, witch. Of course, if you want to know more about me, where my group, we're House of Witchcraft, what we do, we're Crossroads Witches. You can go check that out, houseofwitchcraft.com. We also have a community, an online community of Crossroads Witches. If you would like to work a year and a day with us, please come join. And of course, hit that like button and hit that subscribe button, which I am working on that 10K thing. Something I never thought I'd say. 10,000 subscribers. Who would have known? Who would have thought? All right, and with that said, I want y'all to have as bright a blessed day as I'm having. Of course, it never changes. It's always the same. Amen. Blessed be. Ashe and Ababo.